Hey guys, I'm El-Ruth and welcome back to my lifestyle channel. So today we're going to be talking about the 6 things that I'm glad I didn't do at university. So let's just get straight into this video. So firstly, I'm so happy that I didn't spend all my time studying in the university library. I did study, but I chose not to study in the uni library, and I'll explain why. In fact, I'm actually going to do a video later on about 3 or 4 other places that you can study besides the uni library. So the reason why I'm so glad I didn't study in the university library is because people always said when they went into the library, they just felt anxious, they came out feeling worse. I think this is because people go in there and then they meet someone else and they're like, oh, I've been in here for 7 hours, or I've been in here for this many hours. And it was just an environment that breeds anxiety, especially if I went to the law library, and in particular there's just this competitive, they're always talking about all assessments that are up and all of that, and it was just an environment that I'm glad I didn't put myself into, because it was just an environment that bred anxiety. When you study, I think you should be able to focus, and I don't actually think that to be able to focus on your studies you need to be in an environment where it's just anxious all the time. In fact, every single time I went to the library I fell asleep. It was so quiet in there, it was quiet, it was warm, it reminded me a little bit like my bed, so you know, I would always fall asleep, so that's one of my reasons why I didn't go there anyway. And an important reason why I'm glad I didn't study in the library is that when it came to exam time, most people have just got so used to studying in the library that that's where they went when it came to exam time. And you're thinking, well, obviously the library, but again, during exam period, the libraries are so packed. So if that's your usual place of study, it's like the worst place to go. And then you're trying to adjust to a new study space if there's no space there. So basically, just glad I didn't enter that library. I barely even took a book out, and there's no need to really be in there with all the books, because a lot of books these days are online, and so check if your university has books online, because they're really helpful as you can access them wherever you like. Number 2, I'm so glad I didn't get heavily involved into Freshers Week and in Freshers in general. Okay, I'm gonna have to be a little bit honest here and say the reason why I didn't get into Freshers initially was because, to be honest, I grew up in the countryside, I grew up in Devon. There wasn't really that much to do with each other than to, you know, get drunk. Obviously there's other things to do, but what we did was, you know, get drunk, go to parties, house parties, field parties. So by the time I came to Freshers, the whole like alcohol scene wasn't really new to me. It wasn't something that like excited me, and Freshers is just pretty much alcohol obsessed. So basically I just didn't really get into it, and I'm so glad that I chose not to, because basically it meant that I got to know my city. I spent a couple of weeks, instead of hungover and then wasting all my money on drinking, I got to know my city, I got to travel around, get to use the shops, little areas that people actually who finished their degree still don't even know about Cardiff, that I know now, because my whole Freshers experience wasn't necessarily about the whole Freshers experience. And another thing is that I actually got to go and begin to make real friendships, you know. So basically a lot of people in Freshers, they just kind of stick to their housemates. You run around acting like your best friends with these people that you've just been stuck in the house with and that you just get drunk with, and honestly those people don't even speak now, and you'd see them posting all over their social media, be like, oh, besties, had a wild night, but it's just by the end of the year nobody spoke to the people that they were friends with in Freshers. So to me it was just a bit of a waste of time. And one of the best things about not getting into Freshers during Freshers is the fact that most people wasted so much money, either wasted or was stolen or misplaced over Freshers Week, that it meant for the rest of the year, as when you get student finance, and if you're on student finance, termly or whatever, you're just staying into your overdraft, and so you're barely coping for the rest of the year because of all the damage you did during Freshers Week. So yeah, I have no regrets for not getting involved in Freshers. Number 3, a little bit controversial, I'm really glad I didn't join a university society. I can really say that I'm glad I didn't now that uni's finished, because during university you're probably thinking, oh, do I wish that I could just go out with my netball friends, or go debating with my law society or whatever. You know, you're kind of on the edge, but now that it's finished, I can really say I'm glad I didn't get involved. So my reasoning for not getting involved to begin with is because I did the whole netball society, the whole sports thing, and being involved in every single thing, like, you know, it was head girls thingies, like student representative committees, all those things I did at school. So I just wasn't interested in doing that all over again at university, and I'm glad I didn't, because most people, their best friends, their whole entire social life was spent with these people that they were in societies with. And the problem with that, well, on the surface doesn't seem that much of a problem, but the thing is that they're friends out of circumstance with those people. And again, they didn't really get to make those real substantial friendships. Those people don't even speak to each other now, you know? And you see everyone in the law society who did everything together, they don't even talk, because their friendship and the reason for hanging out together was all based around, and their things in common was all based around the sport they played, or something else that people do in societies that I don't do, or just getting drunk together. And to me, I don't know, there's something that just doesn't sit right with me, spending energy and making friends if it's not gonna last. But I know each their own. I know it's controversial. Some people don't mind the fact that they don't really speak to the people they're in societies with anymore. But to me, I'd be like, well, you know, what was the point of that then? Number 4, a little bit linked to the societies. I'm glad I didn't spend all my time with law students. In fact, I don't even like law students. I'm sometimes ashamed to be one. The thing is about law students, and I can generalize here because a lot of my friends at school want to study law and have studied law, and so I spoke to them about their experiences across the board, across the UK, and it's pretty much the same. And the thing is that law students, there's just this competitive atmosphere. I remember from the first week of my law degree, just this constant competitive environment, and there was no need for it really, because at the end of the day, as the law lecturer said at the beginning of uni, is that everybody could get first if they want to. You know, we could all get first if they want to. There isn't like school or other things where there can only be a certain amount of A's or a certain amount of firsts. This isn't like that. So there is just no need for this competitive environment, because we debate, because law is competitive. It just breeds this culture of people who just see each other as competition. And you know, like, that wasn't me. I literally had no energy for that. I spent school thinking that people were my competition, and I just didn't want to be in that environment. And I'm so glad I didn't just stay in a law bubble, because what's happened with people who have stayed in the law bubble, when they are catching up with their uni friends, it's like, oh, well, I've got my training contract already, or well, I've got this already, and now I'm qualifying for the bar, and oh, I've just qualified for the bar. And again, it's just that continued competitive environment outside of university. And I just thought, you know what, I didn't need that. I'm glad I didn't do that. What a relief. Move on with my life. Number 5, I'm so relieved that I didn't take ages to find a church. And you know, part of this has nothing to do with me, because I came to Cardiff thinking, you know, I don't want to go to church. I'm actually fuming with God at the moment. I don't even want to hang around with Christians because Christians are so weird. That was my stance. I'm just really blessed that, you know, God pursued me, basically, there was this girl who contacted me and invited me to my church, which is the church I go to now. And although she did that, it was my choice to go to that church, because I actually did go and try other churches. But you know, I'm really glad that I made it. Well, I didn't make it priority. I don't really know what I'm going with this one. All I'm trying to say is that I'm glad I went to church from day one when I came to Cardiff, and you should too. In my case, God really had to pursue me and chase me to get me back into church. But doing it all again, in the mindset I'm in now, I would definitely make it priority to find a church if I was going to university again, which I'm not going to, because it was horrible. I don't know if I'm joking or not, but I think I am joking. I'm glad I did university. I just wouldn't do it again. Number 6. I am glad I never lived in a student house. If you want me to talk about housing and how to not live in a student house, and how to live in, well, this is my 3rd year room I'm still in, how to live comfortably but cheaply, then comment below and I will do that. But I'm so glad I didn't live in a student house. I never had to experience rats. I never had to experience drug dealers. Oh my gosh, my bestie Rachel, you've seen her on my Instagram. Okay, so there was a murderer, and he was murdered, and there was a murder near my street somewhere, and the murderer lived next door to Rachel. Every single time there was like a drug deal or whatever, like, the police would have to come in to use Rachel's house to like raid their house. You know, this isn't the life for me, you know? I grew up in Devon, quite a little countryside. I say this a lot. I'm just not used to the city life, and I'm glad I didn't have to live in a student house. Oh my gosh, the horror stories that you hear of student houses, like, you know, if you haven't been, wait till you find out. And you know, I'm just glad I didn't do it. It wasn't for me. It was not for me, and I'm just saved by grace, you know, saved by grace. Really glad I didn't live in a student house. And lastly, what the reoccurring theme of this video is that I'm just so glad that I saw me doing a law degree as a life experience and not a university experience. This is because if you see it as a university experience, you know, it's just lasting for 3 years. You don't invest in that many friendships because, you know, well, I'm only here for 3 years. And you don't really make yourself feel at home at your church because, well, I'm only there for 3 years. And it's all these things, looking at it as, well, I'm only here for 3 years. But if you see this as a life experience, like this is an aspect of my life, then you will make time to make the city you're living a home. Then you will make time to actually find a nice place to live, and you will make time to have real friendships. I'm just so glad that I didn't see university as this limited time of my life. Because, you know, who knew that I was going to survive university? You know, I could have died in the first 2 years. You know, I genuinely thought it was going to kill me, my law degree. And, you know, I wouldn't have actually made the most of those 2 years. But I'm so, so glad that it's an aspect of my life that I can remember and say, yes, I really, really made the most of lots of things. There are things that I wish I did do at university, and I will film another video about that. And if it's up, it'll be up here somewhere, or down here somewhere. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. If this was very helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not yet subscribed to my channel. Like, it literally blows me away why you sit and watch my videos and yet not subscribe. That was just so rude. Okay, bye.